live from St. George, Utah. We are happy campers. This is your motivational, sensational, inspirational, educational, aspirational, international, keenly awaited, daily created, highly anticipated edition of the afternoon swing trading floor with your humble host, Jeremy Alexander Newsom, with another daily dose of mentally delicious brain food, reminding each of you to love life, live life, and trade it. Team from around the world, so happy that all of you are here for the open house for the free week at Real Life Trading. We do this twice a year, and the chat pane is slammed with people. Thank you. Thank you for being here. It's so cool. And a bunch of old faces, some people I've known for a long time who popped in, like Monica, Pat, Lori, Joe, Luis, Derek, Stafford, Chris, Andrew, Brad, Derek. I love it. This is so good. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Andrew, Brad says, congrats on the X-Try. I'm a 6-time Ironman finisher. And after seeing that course you raced, I bow to you. Dude, you would have murdered it, man. But thank you, Brad. That was it was a serious event. I was extremely blown away at how hard and difficult that was. And Andrew, I am sore enough to drive, and that's about it. But I think I'll be fully recovered tomorrow or the next day. Just gotta drink some water, get some hydration in. Team, type in 9 if you can hear me, see me okay, see my screen, and you're ready to make some money and make some growth to learn how to be a full-time profitable trader. A lot of 9s coming in. I love it. That's fantastic. Thank you. I might not have the webcam on the entire time just to save bandwidth. For a lot of you know this, but I'm on a 2-month RV trip. I bought an RV back in April, and me and the entire family are cruising around the entire West Coast. We've been everywhere: South Dakota, Des Moines, Iowa, the Badlands, Yellowstone, Yosemite, San Francisco, Mount Shasta, Mount Rushmore, Jackson Hole, Wyoming, all the places. It's been an amazing, incredible 2 months. And I've been trading every single day. I've been training every single day. Been spending time with the family, eating a bunch of steak, grilling out. It's been incredible. It's been so fun. And it was a unique experiment too. It was a unique experiment. Can I trade, travel, and be with the family full time? And the answer is yes. So if that's your dream, let me know. I can help you achieve it. It's very possible. Pat says, I'm looking for a place to move out of California next year. What place do you like best? Dude, come to Nashville. Come on. Everyone's doing it. Tennessee. No state income tax. For $1 million, you can buy anything. All of it. All the things. Whatever you want. $1 million, you get a whole house, you get a castle, you get a goat, a few cows, a car thrown in there. Yeah, it's really cool. All right, team, broader markets. Let's go talk about the NASDAQ ETF. This is the QQQ. And from the looks of it, to me, it just appears that we're going to slowly grind higher. Now, why do I say that? What's the very first thing that every single person should be looking for when analyzing a stock? What's the very first thing? The first thing, you pull up a stock, a company, a chart. What should you analyze? There we go. You are all nailing it. We should analyze the trends. What direction are we going in? That's correct. Because if you get the trend direction correct, then you're going to want to play the trend. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't mean that it can't go against you at some point. It just simply means that the odds are in your favor. The odds are in your favor. Right now, the trend is bullish on the Qs on all time frames. When did I become really bullish on the markets? Around early May, I became full on, like, can't convince me otherwise. I was decently kind of bullish back when this double bottom started forming. because that's a trend reversal. It's a trend reversal chart pattern. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn off my webcam just to save bandwidth. You all know what I look like now. I'm a real person, not AI generated, allegedly. So there's the double bottoms. That was a trend reversal. So January, February was like, hey, maybe, played some bullishness into March and April, and then May, I was like, yep, full on 100%, let's go. And that's because we were now above all moving averages on all time frames. That's a very easy way to determine the trend. All moving averages on all time frames. So what are the three major time frames, team, that you want to analyze your moving averages on? There are three. There's more than three, but there's three main ones. What are the main ones that you want to analyze your moving average on to help you determine the trend, where you should buy, all that kind of good stuff? John Turner says daily, weekly, and monthly. He is correct. Daily, weekly, and monthly are the three time frames. Once you analyze those three time frames, you can have a really, really good idea of what to happen. So you'll notice right here in May, we were above all the moving averages on all time frames. Weekly, monthly, daily, right? The 10, 20, 50, the 100, 200, we started getting above all of them. And that's why I think we're going to continue to slowly melt higher. And I do think we're going to make new all-time highs by the end of the year. Whatever pause we get up here, I think we're going to correct more in time than price. So what that means is probably something like this. If I had to guess, just a little bit more sideways movement, an eventual grind higher seems very, very likely because the trend is bullish on all time frames. And this candle here on July 27th was relatively bearish. A lot of times after the Fed comes out and says whatever they say, really quick, type in a 3 if you read some of the Fed stuff and you pull up an article on CNBC and you feel dumb after reading it. All right. So for those typing in a 3, I'm with you. Every time I pull up whatever, Yahoo Finance or Google Finance, I read it and I'm like, I have no idea. I don't know anything, apparently. I don't know what's happening. So when a Fed announcement comes out of some magnitude, you usually get a gap the day after, up or down. The market digested that gap. We immediately bounced. And I believe tomorrow or the next day, if we take out these candles with a new high, so we break, let's just call it 385 on the Qs, we're going to go up continuously. We're going to continue to go higher. And let's pop into a stock really quick. Apple has earnings right around the corner. Should be this week on Thursday. So one of the big names is going to gap up. I don't know which one, obviously, but between Apple and Amazon, one of them is going to gap up. So Apple has earnings. You can see that it's just kind of slowly chilling out. The trend is obviously bullish. Apple is now a $3 trillion company. Biggest company in the world by a lot. And the trend's bullish. It's bullish on all time frames by the dip. And then you have Amazon. Mike says, we know they will gap up because. One of them, Mike, not all of them, just one of them. And it's because that's the overall trend, man. The way I see it, the big companies, and I'm going to get 10 seconds conspiracy theory. Whoever is moving the curtains on some of this stuff, whoever's behind the scenes on whatever, they're never going to let all of the big companies gap up because that would just make the markets rampage, right? So Meta, Microsoft, Google, Amazon, Apple, Netflix, they're not going to let every single major company go higher over earnings. So Netflix gapped down on earnings. All right. So that was a little bit of a balancing act. Google gapped up on earnings. That was, whatever, kind of expected, I guess, in a way. Meta gapped up on earnings. So how they balance that out? You got to have another one gapping down. Microsoft gaps down on earnings. So they could open flat and eventually go higher as well. That's also a possibility. But it just seems like if Apple opens down or flat, then Amazon will gap up. And if Apple opens up, then Amazon will open kind of flat. But the general broader trend right now on the markets are still bullish. And so my expectation is if you have some of these positions, especially long-term shares, you can protect those shares with collars, right? You can protect those shares by selling calls and buying puts, or you just continue to hold on to the shares because shares are assets and assets are sexy. In fact, the only way to become financially independent, ladies and gentlemen, is we have to, you, me, everyone here, we have to own assets. Okay. Here's the Dow Jones ETF and the Dow Jones ETF. Again, if it takes out this bear candle, I don't know why we don't go higher. The trend's bullish. There's no way for me to realistically try to pick a top. It doesn't make a lot of sense. Just stay long, buy dips. The IWM, which is the Russell 2000. I have been bullish on this one since we bounced off the 200 simple on the weekly, which is this red line. So from 183 into the blue line, which is about 193, that was 10 points. That was a good little move. If I zoom in here to the daily chart, we've already taken out that candle on the IWM. Also, type in a 6 if this is a brilliant hammer. Look at that. Right off the daily moving averages and right off the weekly moving averages. When you combine numerous moving averages together like that, it adds a much, much higher probability on the trade. So those are some of the broader markets and some of the bigger stocks. I had a request, and I'll take your request for new stocks at the end of class for AEHR test systems. And you'll see me go through the whole process of reviewing stocks a lot today. But this particular company's been around for a while, and it's at an all-time high. It really, really started crushing in July of 2021. I don't know why. I don't know what caused it. But if you're looking at technical analysis, and I did not do this trade, but type in a 3 if you can see how it broke out and retested old resistance, new support. So if you were watching this, you could have taken some type of trade there, an investment, a swing trade. You could have bought 10 shares, could have bought 1,000 shares, whatever. That could have worked. Again, I did not take that trade, but that's technical analysis and how it's working on this one. And on all time frames, this trend's bullish. You have a retest gap right here. That's a bullish candle gapping up. And we did retest. We have pulled back. We have rested into the moving averages. So if you're buying dips on this one, buying dips and selling rips, buying the salsa, then buy low and sell it higher. That's it. That's my analysis. Next on the list was requested Green Brick Partners. This is a home builder. And home builders have been scorching the earth. Look at this chart. You wouldn't think that this chart would be reflective of how much it's moving, but it is. Again, I totally understand not wanting to buy a lot up here. We have moved, just 1,000%, 820% return since COVID on home building. So from a stock perspective, I wouldn't aggressively be buying here. That's all. Earnings is right around the corner. They're probably going to do quite well. One of my mentors is a very large home builder in El Paso, Texas. And people are still buying homes and people are still building them. I wish I had a really, really sexy setup on this one. What I can say is based on this volume and based on this compression, if you wanted to play an over earning strategy, you could do a debit spread or some type of call option position, because my thought is if this gaps up on earnings, you are going to trap some people and those people will be scared, and everyone who's shorting house builders are going to get squeezed again and the stock will continue higher. Another stock that I just learned was publicly traded recently was Our House. This is a little bit of a higher end furniture store that my wife loves. And by loves, I mean way too. She likes this place way too much. I would like it if they did not have a store in Nashville. It'd be much more cost effective for me to live in Nashville if our house was not in there. But no, really, strong support around probably 7 to 9 if we're looking at it. And then we can see a big resistance up here, 14, 15. And it's just right in the middle of the channel. That's pretty much it. If you love this place and you have some furniture there, get them back on the share side. Maybe own some shares. Just don't be too aggressive because, again, we're right in the middle of that channel. Buy the dip, maybe hang on to it. The trend looks pretty good. You had a nice, really nice hammer yesterday, morning star reversal. I could see the trend kind of continuing up into 14, which, hey, it's, you know, $2.50 from where it is now. But I would prefer to buy that one a little bit lower. All right. Looking at Corporation America Airports, another stock that got requested. Let me just look at this. Oh, wow. Okay. Previous all-time high was 18. I don't see anything other than that. The volume on this one's a little bit lighter at about 100,000 shares on average. So I wouldn't be aggressive on this one. I wouldn't have a big position in it. But I would buy a dip. It looks like it's gapping up a little bit pre-market. Maybe try to buy some at 13.15, stop at 12.50. So buy at 13.50, stop at 12.50, and target $16 for whoever requested. Ticker symbol CAAP. Look how powerful NVIDIA is. So team, I think NVIDIA is just going to keep melting higher into 500. Definitely put this one on your radar the rest of the week. Who can tell me why I'm saying that? There is a reason, and I will give you the correct answer. Earnings, no, it's not the right answer. Brooke nailed it. By the way, team, did you know we had a professional golfer in the building? It's not me, it's Brooke. And Brooke, by the way, you're on host and panelist if you want people to know that you're here. But her answer was inside candle dojis. Type in a 4 if you can see these very, 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 very small candles. Right? These candles are saying, hey, a lot of indecision is here. And Brooke nailed it. She nailed it. So what this means is massive indecision. This indecision will become decision soon. I'm not saying it's tomorrow, but it could be tomorrow. It could be Wednesday. It could be Thursday. But a gap out of here, up or down, it doesn't mean that we're going to go higher or lower. What it means is you will have a lot of edge that day. You're going to have really good propulsion. So put this one on your day trade list. Watch for a nice gap out of there, out of here. We need to gap above this candle. Specifically, we should open above 473.95 or below 457.50. If we do one of those two things, I will day trade NVIDIA and I will probably make a little bit of money on it, is my guess. Or at least I will try to. So anyway, that's pretty much what I got on NVIDIA. But I do think it's just going to keep melting higher into 500. I think 500 is going to be a nice little target on NVIDIA. And this gap right here made one of my made a real life trader, a good friend of mine, also happens to be named Jerremy, a liquid millionaire. So congratulations, Jerremy. He had some shares, he had some call options, got lucky. But hey, lucky is good. Lucky is good. Liquid millionaire, a great goal to get to. All right, next on the list is PayPal. And PayPal has also closed above this big bear candle. This is an interesting move because we're so far away from the long-term moving averages. But most importantly, this volume here, type in a 7 if you can see how large of a bearish volume that is. In fact, it's the second largest volume in history on PayPal. And we're about to close above it. So I'm giving you all a gift right now. The close above that volume is going to be a big ordeal for the bears. Bears are going to be trapped, and you're going to be wanting to play some long positions on PayPal. I do think this is a company that will survive the tech debacle that we've been in. I use PayPal. I know exactly how they make money. And did you know that PayPal owns Venmo? If you didn't, now you do. So there's a lot of value here. And in my opinion, I think that a gap up on earnings above 77 and this thing flies. Personally. And if it retests in here and bounces, should be cool. Stafford says, what about the Fed payment system? Should we be worried? Mostly because the government never does anything correctly. I'd say no. Personally, I'm not really worried. Just my opinion. All right, cool. There's PayPal. So keep your eyes on it and look for a good gap on earnings and see how we can end up pulling back. You know, any type of bigger dip, in my opinion, is viable. This is, you know, a pullback into 70 is viable. Pullback into 72 is viable. And again, an open above 77 on earnings, and it's going to fly into 80, no problem. Palantir, I have no position on Palantir, but I'm very, very happy for those who do. Nancy Jones, congratulations, rock star. My girl Nancy bought a whole heap ton of shares, either here or here. I forget the exact day, but some type of pullback breakout. Why do you think Nancy went long on Palantir? The answer is really easy, by the way. Yeah, the trend's bullish. That's why. She bought the trend and said, all right, cool, let's see what happens. Because remember, team, if you're investing and trading the markets and you're terrified of losing, that's really dumb. Because you're going to lose. Losing is a guarantee. I mean, really, that's honestly like if you live your life and you're afraid to see the sun. Well, you're not really living life if you're terrified to see the sun at any point in your life because, well, that's life. So Palantir, trend is bullish. Nancy got in, looks good. Dan Jansen's in this one. Jason King is in this one. And again, I am missing it, and that's okay. But I want all of you, type in a 4 if you're okay to get some homework. I know this is the free week, but I'm still going to give you guys homework because I want all of you to be very, very profitable in this market. And it's extremely, extremely doable, team, to make money right now. So the homework is go back trade how and when this volume started picking up on Palantir on the weekly chart. And you'll start being able to see when you could have gotten in. Now, again, granted, one of the reasons I'm not in Palantir is I can't be in everything. I'm perfectly okay to analyze stuff, not be in it, see good moves, and be happy for everybody else. That's all good. So this is one of those I'm letting all of you know that I did not catch. But the reason I'm telling that to you is because I want you to realize, number one, I'm transparent about both wins and losses. I will brag if I win, and I will brag if I lose small. Number two, you have to be happy for everyone else who's making money. There's so much money to go around. Even if you got all of it, there'd be more to go around because there's so much of it. But go spend time back trading Palantir Because you'll see when this volume spike comes in, there are some very, very recognizable signals that this is going to go higher, especially when the volume came in early May. And a lot of the traders capitalized on that and made some very, very good profits. Very good profits. Because I love trading stocks that are less than $30 a share. Who can tell me why? Another easy answer. Again, I'm not in this position, but I do love trading stocks that are less than $30 a share. Why? Yeah, David, you got it. Most of them move faster and you can buy more, right? You can buy more shares. Because if you have 1,000 shares, ladies and gentlemen, true or false, do some math with me. 1,000 times $3. What does that come out to? 1,000 times $3. It's 3,000. Okay. Multiply that times 200 days a year. What does that come out to? A lot of people think that comes out to 60,000, but it doesn't. That's 600,000. Is that realistic for you in the markets? The answer is yes. If you don't believe it, you won't have it, but it's very, very realistic. Like, this is the math, team. This is how my brain thinks. I don't want to overcomplicate it. I am looking for this type of move, and I'm looking for 1,000 shares. You know, it's like, I want to buy shares. My brain has switched from I want more dollars in my life to I want more shares in my life, because shares can grow exponential. Shares have no expiration. They can just sit there. They can do their thing. They can slowly grow. Does that make sense? John says, what's the threshold for being considered a penny stock? That's a great question, John. It's actually more volume than price. Nancy, can I share the trade that you took? Okay. Was it Firefly? Drag DFLI. All right. So let me guys show you again. I did not take this trade. You're gonna get annoyed at me saying that sometimes, but everyone thinks I trade everything all the time, and the truth is I don't. I probably take 50, 60 trades a month, maybe, give or take. I mean, I do very well, obviously, but I'm just saying you don't have to take a million trades. Anyway, whatever. So this trade was $1.50. Nancy bought a butt ton of shares here, wrote it up and sold it. Boom, boom. Now, John, even though this was $1.60, and again, I have no quote unquote negative connotation with penny stocks if there's good volume, because if you can trade it, you can do whatever you want to, right? If it has a chart, it has a heart. But if it has 30,000 shares and you buy 30,000 shares, you're hosed, dude. So notice how many shares of volume are traded in this exchange right here. And, you know, it looks big, but if you hover over it, you'll notice it was 21 million. So if Nancy buys 100,000 shares and it moves up $1 and she makes 100 grand, is she going to have a problem getting out of that trade? And the answer is no. That's all I care about when it comes to quote unquote penny stocks. It's a great question, man. Does that make sense? And so again, that's just my opinion. I'm just looking for volume, and I'm looking for a really good pattern. Now, if we back trade this really quickly, number one, very nice hammer. Number two, beautiful compression. Number three, you got some good gap ups here. Number four, bear candles. Number five, bear volume. Number six, a decent gap. It was a retest gap. Number seven, you have a very rare bear shat pattern, which is a bear candle gapping up into a bear candle. Second bear candle opens and closes above the prior bear candle's open. And then compression, hammer candle, compression, hammer candle. Would it be scary, ladies and gentlemen, to go, all right, if it breaks out, I'm going to get in here. I'm going to place my stop loss there. I'm going to risk 40 cents. And that'll be my trade. Is that scary? Like, no, a pattern is a pattern is a pattern. That's why if it has a chart, it has a heart. That's why I trade cryptos. They move like stocks. If I can do the math, I will take the trade. That's what it's all about. So anyway, great trade, Nancy, and great question, John. I love that you guys are asking that. It's awesome. So what's Palantir going to do now? Nice little random tangent. I think it's just going to go a little bit higher. Earnings is right around the corner. I don't know what this one's going to do on earnings. This is not a big company, so it can do whatever it wants. But it's going to start stalling before too long. Right? Palantir, it needs to rest. So if you're not on this train, you know, you've missed it a little bit. So it'll start to pause around 2021, something like that, kind of rest sideways and just chill out for a bit. And of course, if it gaps up huge on earnings, if it gaps up huge, it probably will sell off a little bit. Chris says, I don't even know what they do. And hey, you know, the good news is, man, you don't have to on a lot of charts and a lot of patterns. But one thing that I do when I'm researching is I'll type the name of the company into YouTube. And I literally will type in, what does Palantir Technology do on YouTube? And I'll watch, you know, 4 or 5 videos and I'll figure it out. Yeah. Josh says they spy on people, I think. I mean, you know, they have some government contracts with AI. But why not? Twilio. I had a short set up on Twilio that did not trigger. Let me type in a 3 if you want to see me, the analysis I had when the setup was here. So this is what I did on the analysis, right like this. I'll hide this for a second. Pretty basic, pretty simple strategy. I had a bull candle, close below the 10 EMA. There. I had a second bull candle, close below the 10 EMA. There. I had a support level drawn by this little blue line. I had another, whatever you want to call it, here. And it looked kind of like maybe a double top would come in, maybe kind of somewhat potentially. And so I simply said, all right, well, if we break lower, I'll short it. That was the analysis. Now, did that happen? Yes or no? Nope. So I'm gonna go in my broker tonight or tomorrow morning. I'll cancel the trade, and that'll be that. I didn't lose money. I love not losing money. It's my fave. Weekly chart though, this is a flag pattern on Twilio. And I think it's going to ultimately hit the 50 EMA on a weekly chart, which is 75.62. So this one could be good for a debit spread, maybe like a bull call spread, some shares and do some covered calls. However you want to play it, but I think ultimately it'll get to 75 and some change. All right, team. Speaking of stocks that have broken out, here's Boeing and Roku. When I say there's nothing stopping Boeing, I mean from a technical perspective, I can't find anything that's stopping Boeing. Type in a 4 if you actually type in a W if you can see the double bottom. All right, that should be obvious. And I did a bunch of credit spreads on Boeing as we traded sideways. Look how long we trade sideways. 6 months. 6 months we trade sideways in between the 100 and 200 simple on a weekly chart. Now, as I zoom in, notice how we broke out of the 200 simple. We retested the 200 simple on the weekly chart. We got a little bit of a small bear candle, and then we rampaged. Here is the 10 EMA moving average. And ladies and gentlemen, this is a bear candle, the first bear candle closing above the 10 EMA. Right? This candle closed below, which reset the count. There's your bear candle, and then squash, you got the gap up on earnings. So I am in share. I'm in bullish on Boeing. I do have a position on this one. I'm in 240 October calls, and there you go. We'll see what happens. If they pull back, buy more, buy the dip. You can own shares, do covered calls, put sales, whatever. Roku. Roku is going to ultimately get into 100 pretty soon here. Roku had a breakout. This is the one I could talk about. I can definitely brag on Roku. I told you guys that I'll brag on positions I played. I haven't played something this well in a while. I got real lucky on Roku. But type in a 3 if you can see the squiggles, Mr. Squiggles, the blue line. And this is exactly what I did. I got into a debit spread on that day as analyzed on the chart. I told everybody in the trading room I was getting into a debit spread. I got into a debit spread, and then I bought to close that sold call here, decreasing the cost of my call option. And I took a gamble. I did have to hold over earnings, and I did risk one risk unit holding that call. If Roku would have gapped down, I would have lost an R. So I'm telling you all that is like I had the gamble, but I also took that risk because I had, and this is important, realized profitability for the month. So I was taking a realized R, and spent that realized R on a gamble. Does that make sense? Because if you hold options over earnings, you are flipping a coin. You are gambling, and it's okay. I like to gamble, but you need to gamble with a risk and with a strategy in place. So I bought to close the sold call on the debit spread, and then that call option has increased 500%. It was a really, really good trade. And at this present day, I don't see much stopping Roku until at least the 20 EMA on a monthly chart. 20 EMA is at 101.79, ladies and gentlemen. So your boy Roku, I mean, look how dramatic this drop was. This thing was down 92%. 92. And you had you had two strong earnings. Look at this. They thought that they're going to have $774 million of revenue. They had 847, almost $100 million extra. That hasn't happened to me recently. It's like, oh wow, oh wow, it's just $100 extra million laying around. So they've had pretty okay earnings the last few earnings, and they've been building and building, and they finally popped. So anyway, trend is bullish right now on Roku. Look for bullish trading opportunities. Andy says, why do you think they dropped so much? Well, Andy, in 2021, I think all tech got hit because it was so hot in 2020. If you look at it, Roku just literally came back down to where it was before COVID. That's all that happened. You had a crazy COVID expansion, and then the whole market returned to normal. So if you're asking why it dropped so much, ask why did it go up so much at the same time? Yeah, it was definitely, COVID was weird, man. So is Roku a $500 stock? No. Is it a $100 stock? Probably. And could you actively trade it between 100 and 75 pretty easily? Absolutely. So there we go. There's my thoughts. I think Roku can go a little bit higher. Keep it on your watch list, buy dips, all that kind of good stuff. My sister has some shares of Plug. She's buying shares of Plug and Robinhood. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but she has some. I'm letting you all know. Trying to analyze this bad boy. I mean, you have a pretty nice. Yeah, my internet's dragging a little bit. You have a pretty nice, type the letter I into the chat pane if you can see this inverted head and shoulders pattern. Yeah, so there's your inverted head and shoulders. So watch this one pretty closely. And I think you could start to slowly buy dips and just tiptoe into shares. This is a really good example of a stock that's under $30 that with good risk mitigation and good chart reading capabilities, it has very, very good volume. I think you could easily make a few $1,000s trading plug. I really do. It looks pretty strong, especially on a weekly chart. Weekly chart looks good right now. So yes, earnings is around the corner. This is the first bear candle last week. First bear candle closing above the 10 EMA. So it's a 10 EMA trade on a weekly chart, and earnings is approaching. So, you know, dabble, put on your watch list, buy some shares, buy the dip, see what it does. If you're still bag holding like my boy Win, maybe you can dollar cost average a bit. Sell it on the next pop, but start watching it. I'll put it on the list for Wednesday, and we'll all still be together during the free week. Win says hydrogen infrastructure is also a good bet. Noted. All right, here is automatic data processing. I had a trader ask me for this one. So let's go look at the weekly chart. First thing I'm noticing, strong bull trend, and I just want to buy a pullback or let it rest. That's really the answer. Type in the letter H if you can see a perfect hammer. I know all of you are practicing your candlestick reading skills. So for me, I think a rest, a pause, and a continuation higher is the way that ADP is going to go over time. Why do I think that? That's just the trends. I don't have any position on it, but it looks good. I don't know why I wouldn't. Also, if you are an options trader, be analyzing spreads down here sometime for September. 2 or 3 more down days. I think that'd be a really, really good spread because this stock is more expensive and it's a little bit more volatile. So you might be able to get some good premium for option selling. Speaking of option selling, AMD, 2 very small inside candles. This one will have a gap on earnings. I don't know if it's going to be up or down, but if you're an options fan, I am selling puts at 100 because I would like to own shares of AMD at 100. So if it does anything other than have a large gap down of over 10%, I'm going to be just fine. And if it does have a gap down of over 10%, I get put some shares at 100, good. I want those shares at 100. So saying all that to say, this one is coming for a day trade very soon because earnings is right around the corner. I'll show all of you how I trade it because I will trade earnings on the day it gaps. I'll either buy low or sell high. Probably sell high and then buy low, if I had to guess. I think AMD has a pretty nice gap up and then fades down. That's what I think. Lita says, you read my mind. Yay. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. That is great news. Great news. So yeah, here's the weekly chart. Good. And again, the 100 simple is also at 98.56. So I like that area on AMD. All right, Roblox, very sideways. Here's my analysis on Roblox. Roblox is long-term. Buy shares as low as you can, aka here. Buy some here. Buy shares here. Sell covered calls here, or just sell the stock. Buy low, sell high. I think Roblox is going to channel for a while. I could be wrong, but I think it's just going to channel up and down. If you have a kid under 20, type in a 1 if you're in that boat. You are broke because you're spending all of your money on Roblox. Right? You have no money. Anyway, so the way I'm doing it personally is I'm not placing a stop. I'm just buying shares kind of longer term. I'm owning those shares kind of longer term. And I'm buying as low as I can. And then when it gets high, I'm selling covered calls. There has been very good covered call premium. And the covered call premium that I'm getting on Roblox, that's the money that I'm giving to my son for Robux, which even on 100 shares can be 100, 200 bucks a month. So I would buy some Roblox here and either sell it at 45 or just do a covered call and leave it alone. Luke, you and Stafford asked me those stocks at the end, and I'll add them to my list for tomorrow. No problem. Yep. All right, ladies and gentlemen, here's my analysis on Tesla. I think it's about to have a small little pop. Very, very beautiful inside candle. I did have a small loss on Tesla today, and I was unable to get in bullish. But Amy, you took my money, so congrats. I would have gotten in bullish. This followed my plan perfectly. First bull candle closing below the 10. I went 26 days by 26 days profitable on Tesla. And today is my first losing day. So now I'm 26 for 27. Not that it matters. I never keep those records or those stats, but whatever. I shorted here. It traded sideways. I ended up moving my stop. I got stopped out right there and I had to hit the road. I would have played this candle. So type in a 3 if you can see at that point, that's the first bear candle closing above the 10 EMA. And it's an inside candle. So I would have gone long right here, stop loss right there. And I would like to think that I would have exited there to get my loss back at 1R. And that would have been how I played Tesla. I think. I would like to think that's the case. So, and would I have shorted it? I mean, over here, maybe. Maybe. But anyway, whatever. It was a loss. Cool. So I'm sharing a loss with you. I did lose on Tesla today. I had a losing day trade day, but I mean, you got to at some point. I was on a hot streak. Way too hot. All right. Cool. Guess who's not going to lose on Tesla tomorrow, though? Your boy. If it opens above 260, 270, I'm definitely day trading it. If it opens down below 263, I'm definitely day trading it. I do think Tesla's going to make its way back up to 285 to complete the B wave of this Elliott wave. And then I think it's going to pull back to 250 at some magnitude. I also got stopped out of my short swing trade that I entered on that day. Anyway, saying all that to say, the 100 simple on the weekly chart is about 251. That's a really, really strong level. If Tesla does not go below 250 in the next 3 weeks, it will hit 300 by the end of the year. You can write that down and you're welcome. So there you go. That's my analysis on Tesla. It's gonna be very, very fun to watch today with that extremely small inside candle. Bitcoin, I still trade Bitcoin. I still own Bitcoin. I still buy Bitcoin very frequently. I'm still a believer. It's a great asset to buy because it's so volatile. One of the best gifts you can give yourself is buy Bitcoin every week, regardless of the price, automatically, and just hang on to it so that you can have some and you can increase your savings. 200 simple is at 27,000. You can also just essentially buy some here at the 200, sell at the 100. That's a possibility. All right, buy low and sell high. You can do that. But really right now, Bitcoin is extremely sideways. Mike says, do you use Coinbase? Yes, Mike, I've used Coinbase since 2014. Yep. I have also always told people to use Coinbase as well, to be clear. just because that one, yeah, that one is regulated. It has the same exact regulations as a bank. Speaking of Coinbase, I'll pull it up just so we're looking at it. The big resistance on Coinbase is the 100 simple on a weekly, which is about 119. I do think it can get there. I do think it's a flag pattern. I think we're going to break a little bit higher very soon on Coinbase. So watch for that. My guess is on earnings, I think they're going to have really good earnings. I think they have great earnings. I think they gap down on good earnings, trade down into 80, and then eventually go back up to 120. Just my thought, just a guess based on the trend, nothing more than that. I will absolutely keep you guys posted on my analysis when I trade and how I trade Coinbase after earnings. But I do like it long term because remember, Coinbase makes money regardless of what Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies do. They go up or down, people are still trading them, people are still buying them, so they're making their commissions. And most of their liquid assets on their books are crypto. So if crypto goes up, you can rest assured that Coinbase will also go up in value. So that's nice. All right. And Coinbase, ironically enough, is also Matt DeLong's largest holding. Netflix. I had a coaching session with Jeremy on Friday, Jeremy Ritz, and him and I got into some Netflix. I'll show you the 2 reasons why. Reason number 1, it was trading down to the 50 EMA, and it had not touched that in a few months, and the trend's bullish, so I figured buy low, sell high. And number 2, multi-time frame analysis. Type in a 6 if you can see Netflix bouncing off the 200 simple on a weekly chart, which is that big red line. Type in a 7 if you can also see how it's bouncing off of the 10 EMA on a weekly chart. So you had 3 massive moving averages at the exact same price, so you had to go along there. So good trade, nice little bounce, and well done if you played it. Also, from a day trading perspective, today was a very nice day trading perspective because this was an inside day candle. Once it took out the high of yesterday, that would have been a trade that was worth day trading or able to day trade based on my day trading rules. Let's scroll over and really quick ask a very easy question. All right, so now we're looking at the non-extended hours. Chris, Tom, or whoever else is looking at Netflix today. Was this the first bear candle closing above the 10 EMA? Yes, it was. So it took out the high of the day. It had a bear candle closing above the 10. It had an inside candle. There's your setup. Does it have to be an inside candle to have a setup? No, it just makes it better. So anyway, there you go. What's Netflix going to do now? Just remain bullish on it, buy the dip. It had a beautiful bounce off of a long-term moving average. And I think it could easily pull down to there again and probably will. So look for whatever methodology or strategy you want to implement for some bullishness. Derek says, you do this always on 3-minute charts? I day trade on 3-minute charts, Derek, 99% of the time, yes. Every now and then I'll go into a 2 or 5. I will look at other time frames, but I day trade on the 3-minute chart. Out of 100 hours, 99 hours. All right, here's Oracle, ORCL. For Oracle, for me, team, this one's so high. I just wanted it to trade sideways and to compress for a bit. The trend is bullish. If you want to buy Oracle, buy it. Just buy it very slowly. It's really, 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 really high. And it just needs to rest. That's all. I think you could buy Oracle at the exact same price it is now 5 months from now. So I just wouldn't aggressively be buying Oracle. The trend's definitely bullish. So, play bullish perspectives on it, but just be conservative. Don't be extremely aggressive. There's times to be aggressive and there's times not to be. Google, I've told everyone in real life trading last week is one to be aggressive on. You can be aggressive on Google. Perfect gap, perfect earnings, perfect location, perfect close, perfect pressure, perfect trends, perfect moving averages. Buy the dip, be long on Google. Own some long-term shares of Google. If you like the internet, you should probably like Google. In fact, can everyone type in a quick 4 for me? Do you use Google ever? Any people here using anyone here? Oh, okay. Some of you use Google. That's good to know. I like it. Mike says, with the way the market's been moving, what has been the best time frame? I understand the questions you're asking, Mike, but there's no such thing as best time frame, brother. It's like what time frame is best for you and your schedule, honestly. That's really it. If you're looking at a 3-minute chart, that means you're day trading. All time frames work, just not all the time. So it's going to boil down to your schedule, your life, your kids, your wife, all the things, right? Yeah. Because, dude, you could place one trade a year with the right analysis, with the right size, with the right entry, with the right timing, and make millions. You don't have to day trade ever to make money in the markets. You can just know what you're doing, analyze it the right way, pull the plug, pull the trigger, make really good money. Walt Disney, long term, I don't have any position on this one, but I understand why you would. It's at the 200 simple on a monthly chart. This is a buy low, sell high location. I don't personally own or trade Disney for no particular reason other than I can't be in everything. But if you want to be in, this is where you want to be in. Buy low, sell high. It's a long-term blue chip, boring play. But if you want boring, if you want dividends, if you want your portfolio, if you take your kids to Disney, I would rather eat 5 gallons of chocolate ice cream in one sitting than take my kids to Disney. But I would do either one if I had to. Adobe was the easiest long-term purchase, in my opinion, last year. It's Adobe. They make amazing reoccurring revenue. It was a brilliant long-term buy spot. And Adobe's been flying. Incredible chart pattern. I would love for you all to back trade Adobe and figure out where you would have gotten in based on the big picture, combining it with the daily chart, all of that stuff. Adobe had definitely paid some real life trading bills over the last 4 or 5 months. And we use a lot of Adobe products, and so do a lot of people. So trend's bullish. Don't buy it here. Buy it lower. If you want to sell a put on Adobe, I would wait a little bit. Normally, you're going to want some nice down days to sell some puts on Adobe and really any stock. So over here would have been a little bit better right after earnings to sell some puts on Adobe. But for this particular one, I would encourage a little bit of a pullback and some more selling before some put sales. And if you're referring to Disney, I do think Disney is in a good valley to start selling some puts 85 and lower for August or September or October. Just a few stocks left. If you guys don't mind me going a little bit over. Ticker symbol AVY. AVY. Okay. Very nice volume there. All right. So let me show you what I see on the weekly chart. Long story short, the 100 and 200 are acting as perfect guardrails for the stock. Type in a 7 if you can see amazing volume come in at the 200 simple. Now, again, I'm not in this position. I've never played it in my life, but what a beautiful spot to buy. All of you can see that, right? Factoring in different analysis, this makes it very simple to trade this stuff. Where we are right now, I like the compression. I like the 2 days of sideways action. I will put this on my watch list, and let's see if we can get a breakout. We have 2 days of sideways movement. If we can get one more day, I will swing trade that, and we'll do that officially together tomorrow. So yeah, let's see what happens tomorrow. That looks really good. Progressive, Progressive team. I mean, you can't lose on insurance companies long term. Huge bearish volume on earnings. We've already closed above the high of that volume. Own the stock. It bounced off the 100 simple on a weekly chart. It's boring. It's a blue chip. It's a long term. Wait for the next dip or the next breakout and play it. You'll see very, very similar, strong similarities to Progressive and to Raytheon. Both stocks had huge gap downs with massive volume, and we're slowly working on going higher. These two boxes were two analyses that I wanted to complete on RTX. Number one was a breakout above that hammer, which happened today. And number two is a pullback to 80. I don't know if 80 is going to happen, but I'm willing to lose on the breakout above that perfect hammer. If I lose on the perfect hammer, I will buy it at 80 and I'll try again. If the breakout of the hammer works, I'll make an R and then I'll take that R and I'll celebrate. That's pretty much it. So that's RTX. Just one left. LYTS. LSI Industries. This is the daily chart. Let's go look at the weekly. All right. Cool. And monthly chart. I don't see a bunch. It's the exact same price that it was in 1998. It's not a great signal. That just means to me that it's a channeling stock. So you want to buy it as low as you can, sell it as high as you can. Don't own this thing long term. So for me, if I was trading it, I'd probably buy it at somewhere down here, 12, sell it at 13, buy low, sell high, buy the dip, sell the rip. And that's all I got on LSI Industries. All right, team. I know there's a lot of you, and a lot of you requested some stocks for me during this performance. Feel free to throw in some stocks that you all want me to review during Tech Giant Tuesday, which is tomorrow. Same time, same place. I will be in Las Vegas, Nevada, 5 to 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 to 4 Mountain Time, or 4 to 5. I don't know. I'll be here. Derek said, myself and Josephine met you in Montreal a few years when you came up to visit friends. A great time for us that evening. Well, thanks, Derek. I appreciate you remembering me, man. And I am very, very happy that you were here. And I remember that moment. I'll actually be back up in Montreal, I think the very first week of November. I love that city. It's an incredible place. If you ever come to Nashville, Tennessee, let me know. But yeah, thank you for being here, and I hope I can continue to impact your life and pour into you all in positive ways. That is my goal, ladies and gentlemen, is to enrich lives as much as I possibly can, help you with your money, help you with your mindset, your relationships, your thoughts. Because remember, thoughts become things. Your words will create the world around you. Make sure to spend time being around great people, and those great people exist inside real life trading. Terry, thanks for being here. Folks and friends from around the world, I will see you later. And until next time, love life, live life, and trade it. See you tomorrow. Bye.